everybody. This is Kines 505, exercise-related sports nutrition. I'm a strength and conditioning coach at the junior college level. I work with Santa Barbara City College football program. The typical question that I get asked a lot from freshmen, what we call the red shirts, the guys that are not playing that particular year to save their eligibility. Typical question I get is, hey, coach, how can I gain weight, specifically lean body mass? My question for this presentation is going to be, how can we increase muscle 10 to 12 pounds, 10 pounds in 12 weeks? Can be done, but there has to be a plan in order. 3 things we're going to talk about today is what, when, and how much. What obviously is, what do you eat? What type of protein should you lean towards? Obviously, how you prepare the protein is key. But in terms of what type of protein, we want lean protein. So I always say lean protein, chicken, fish, turkey. Vegetables, obviously a lot of color. Then we want quality fats. What I like to say is fats to sustain energy for the day. One interesting quote that I want to say that we heard this week from Dr. Everman was, and I love the quote in one of her posts, she said, nutrition is extremely simple and yet extremely complex. At the same time, it's no wonder the layperson struggles with it. And I think that just kind of exemplifies nutrition in a nutshell. We as strength and conditioning coaches can make it very simple. We can also make it very complex. But in order to make it complex, you should get out of your lane and kind of give it towards a registered dietitian. That's why when athletes come to me and they start asking me nutrition questions, I keep it very simple. I stay in my lane. I am the strength and conditioning coach. I'm not your nutritionist. If you want detailed information on what you should eat, go get blood tests, go to a registered dietitian. They're going to get more specific in terms of what that particular person needs. One theme I've learned over the course of this quarter in this class is it is very individualized. But as Dr. Everman said, it can be very simple as well. Staying with that, I basically give them personal experience stories of what worked for me. I always try to give them some kind of research, relevant research, quality research that will back up what I'm saying. My first study that I typically will use in this presentation was developed by Kirwan et al., 2012. He basically said the estimated energy requirement of a college football player is roughly 4,000 to 5,000 calories a day. The estimated calorie energy requirement. The estimated calories that a typical college freshman football player eats is roughly 3,600. So obviously there is a deficit. So it's important that college football players during the season are maintaining their weight. And since I work with red shirts, they typically want to gain weight. That's their goal to get ready for the next season. Their average protein intake, that can vary. Again, it can get very individualized, but also it can be very general. There's a lot of different variances of ranges that are recommended based on what study you read. So there's a lot of variance. The Kirwan et al. Study in 2012 basically said the average protein intake is roughly 1.8 grams per kilogram of body weight, is what typical freshmen consume. Also, what is a cost-effective way of getting protein, what I tell my athletes is chocolate milk. There was a really good, interesting article that I got from Upshaw et al. In 2016, fairly recent, last year. It came to the conclusion that chocolate milk pretty much has the same recovery response that a protein shake would have. Also, it has a little bit more of a blend of carbohydrate, which obviously athletes, football players in general, when they're conditioning, lifting weights, they need to replace their blood sugars after a workout. So they have found that chocolate milk is an effective form of recovery drink. Now we'll talk about when. When should they eat? The day of a college football player is very different from the general population. They have weights, or they're running in the morning, they have class, then after school they have film, or they have some form of rehab training, or then they have practice. Then after practice they go home, they have find time to study, and then they find time to try to find some sleep. So their days are jam-packed. I give them a sheet, basically planning their day, telling them about how to space meals out. So general guidelines again, being the strength and conditioning coach, not a registered dietitian, I give them from when they wake up to when they go to bed. Every 2 to 4 hours, they're eating something. Making sure that breakfast, lunch, and dinner are their staple meals. Mid-morning snack, mid-afternoon snack, and then maybe a late night snack at night before bed. A typical healthy plan that I have established for these players would be a itinerary of the day, which would include 5 to 6 a.m. they're waking up, 6:10 they have a pre-workout snack, 6:30 to 7:30 they would have a team lift or a run, 7:40 they're having a post-recovery snack, breakfast, then they go to class, 11 to 11:30 they have lunch, 2 p.m. they would have a team lift, 3:30 they'd have a recovery snack, 6:30 they'd have dinner, 9 p.m. they'd have a snack, and then hopefully, I know they're college students, they might be up late doing papers and homework, but typically you want to try to get to bed by 10 p.m. or even no later than 11, just to make sure they're trying to get at least 6-7 hours of sleep at least. I know that's impossible sometimes being a college student myself. So what I really try to teach them is space it out. I also tell them to eat calories, don't drink calories. Stay away from sports drinks for obviously athletes that are trying to lose weight, but in reference to this presentation, we're trying to gain weight. Eat calories, don't drink calories. Nutrient dense versus calorie dense. I typically kind of err on the caution of calorie dense, but in terms of people that want to gain weight, I typically say eat whatever you can get your hands on. Obviously know the quality of type of food you're eating. Even take snapshots, take pictures, send them to me. I'll let you know if I approve. I typically have that as a strategy right now that I work with some of the kids on the team. They're sending me pictures on a daily basis. Hey coach, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? And I tell them, okay, a little bit more of that, a little less of this. Or try to go for a whole wheat bagel instead of a white bagel. Those kinds of things. Again, staying in my lane, giving them general information. So with that, that's my presentation and I enjoyed it. Thank you very much.